I want to make something very clear. I live in Florida, and I hate Ron DeSantis. Hey everyone, my name's Christian Verstappen, and I have a lot to say about many things. We're going to talk about this wonderful post that I came across on Reddit. Now, I'm following the Florida subreddit because, well, I live in Florida. Makes sense, right? Want to point out everything that I've seen from the subreddit thus far are very good people, very good things, generally speaking. There is, of course, a tag for politics specifically on the subreddit, and that is where this comes from. I got this as a notification. I wasn't even browsing subreddit when I saw it, but I want to just point out I love the little artwork they have here. We got Florida we got beaches and wildlife and all that good stuff, and then we have a nice inclusive LGBTQ flag. And funnily enough, the juxtaposition of this image, where we have Ron DeSantis mocks LGBTQ people in campaign mailer to voters, to Florida voters. Now, for those that don't know and understand the significance of this, let me explain a few things here. First of all, Ron DeSantis is currently the governor of Florida. He unfortunately could very likely continue being the governor come later this month. I will personally not be voting for DeSantis. I originally wanted Nikki Fried to win. Now it seems like, well, she's out of the race, I believe, and Charlie Crist, is going to be the best shot. But quite frankly, I just want DeSantis out. You've heard people talk about how much they hate Trump, and I understand that. I don't like the guy either. But I detest DeSantis, largely because, yes, he basically has control over my state, but also he is far more radical and far worse than Trump could ever even hope to be. And the worst part about him is he's competent. At least Trump is a bumbling idiot. But DeSantis? He could actually cause some real damage. He already has been, and in fact, I'm pretty sure, I don't know this for a fact, obviously, but I'm pretty sure if he wins this time, Florida's going to be seeing the same kind of abortion ban that other states have seen. He already dropped it to, let's see if I can find, from Florida Gov, this was April of this year. Today, Governor Ron DeSantis signed HB 5, the Reducing Fetal and Infant Mortality Act, to protect the lives of Florida's most vulnerable, prohibiting all abortions after 15 weeks of gestation. Real quick on this, by the way, and I'm sure I'll have videos on abortion specifically, but most people don't actually get abortions past 12 weeks anyway, so when this initially came into place, I wasn't the most worried about it. It is still concerning, but for me personally, if he actually goes the way of just outlawing it altogether, I think that's the point where I personally, and many of you may even be at the point where you feel like we have to leave. I mean, he's already been doing extreme attacks against the LGBTQ community, as we're seeing right here. He's the reason we have the whole "Don't Say Gay" bill and the kind of fight with Disney right now, and all these different things. Florida really is a wild place. It really is. I mean, of course, there's all the Florida man memes and stuff like that, and Florida's kind of been the butt of a lot of jokes regarding states and different things, for good reason, to be honest. But Florida is culturally and generally pretty purple, especially the more metropolitan areas and, the places that make it worth a damn, like Orlando, Tampa, Miami, the kind of places that actually matter. You get into bumfuck nowhere, and that's when you get into places where you have, the further north you go, the more conservative and redneck and all that shit it is. It's really bad. But We're not talking about my gripes with Florida. We're talking about Ron DeSantis mocks LGBTQ people in campaign mailer to Florida voters. The Republican governor claimed Biden's student loan plan will force hardworking Floridians to pay back student loans for degrees like gender studies. I'm not sure why this is a complicated thing for people to understand, but I really want to make this clear as well, kind of my views on the whole situation as far as student loan forgiveness. Anyone that is arguing against it, especially with things like, well, I had to work to pay off my student loans, or what about all these people that had to work to pay off their student loans? Okay. There was a time where polio was a really horrible disease. Now we have vaccinations for it. There were people that died of polio that didn't get to benefit from the progressive changes we've made today. That's progress. That's how life works. That's reality. Welcome to living in a society. Yeah, who'd have known there are actually positives to we live in a society as well. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is pushing bigotry and lies in a recent mailer his campaign sent out to voters ahead of next week's midterm elections. The mailer attacks DeSantis's Democratic challenger, Charlie Crist, using a slew of misinformation, including that President Joe Biden's student loan plan will force hardworking Floridians to pay back student loans for degrees like gender studies and French poetry, which we'll get to. The mailer, with a Fort Lauderdale resident, shared with HuffPost, shows a photo of Crist and Biden embracing above a line that reads, "The Biden-Crist college loan bailout will make inflation worse, punish hardworking taxpayers, reward universities." I don't know if I've actually received this, by the way. The flyer also includes a photo of a student wearing makeup during their graduation ceremony. A speech bubble drawn over their head shows the students saying, "Thank you, Joe Biden and Charlie Crist, for making Floridians pay off my student debt." The photo appears to be a stock image of a non-binary student at a graduation. Okay, first things first. This? Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Not my cup of tea, not how I present myself, but guess what? I'm a cishet male. Generally not going to do that. This person, they're non-binary. Good for them. Live your best life. The whole point of this is to, the whole point of graduation is to honor and celebrate your academic achievements in this regard. And look, yeah, if people paid off their student, look, I'm of the belief that people should be paid to go to school in the first place. I don't even think people should have to pay for it, let alone should it be free. I believe that people should be paid and given that extra financial incentive to go to school. Because the idea that people can go to school and be really struggling to make ends meet while they're trying to get an education to better themselves is just so asinine to me. It's so counterintuitive to what you might expect for, I don't know, a first world progressive country. Actually, we'll leave that image up. Might come in handy. Okay. Yeah, all right, cool. Good. Good for, and look, we have the people in the background. Look, the students are happy. Look, we'll zoom in a little more here, right? We see the students are happy for them. They're cheering, they're clapping. We have, in this picture, we have what look to be either students and teachers and students cheering and clapping them on. Great, good for them. Neither DeSantis' office or the Republican Party of Florida immediately responded to HuffPost's request for comment. DeSantis likely, this is the part that hurts, guys. DeSantis likely to win the governor's race, boasting a nearly 10% lead in polls ahead of Crist. Some, including Crist and Biden, have criticized DeSantis for running for election when it is well known he will likely run for president in 2024. I don't. He's bad enough as a governor. I sure as hell don't want him as a fucking president. That this ad and others like it are running in 2022, not 1970, tells us the kind of future envisioned by DeSantis and his right-wing cronies, said Brandon Wolf, press secretary for Equality Florida, an LGBTQ civil rights organization. These extremists are hell-bent on returning us to the darkest age of anti-LGBTQ hysteria that fueled discrimination, bigotry, and violence against the community. He continued, the war they are waging against equality and LGBTQ Floridians is dangerous, cynical, and should be condemned by all who want to see a Florida that is more inclusive of and safe for all people. Guys, I know people personally who are trans or non-binary, who are somewhere on the LGBT community spectrum. I have people who are close to me. I have two siblings, one who is a trans man and one who is non-binary. They actually are currently living in another state and want to move back to Florida at some point in the near future. I do not want them coming to this. Look at this flyer. This is, look at this shit. Look at this shit. This is disgusting. An anti-LGBTQ rhetoric is nothing new for DeSantis, who has made his name on culture wars that dehumanize LGBTQ kids and people. Earlier this year, DeSantis signed legislation known as the Don't Say Gay Bill, yeah, that's what I was talking about, into law, which effectively forbids teachers from talking about sexual orientation and gender identity in most elementary school classrooms. The legislation sparked national outrage, with LGBTQ advocates criticizing it as hateful and discriminatory. And it was. DeSantis' success deeming and erasing LGBTQ folks has led him to campaign on the same issues. His new flyer isn't the first to mock gender studies majors and others interested in gender studies. One mailer sent to Floridians in October claimed that Christ is forgiving student loans for gender studies majors who have used their money on tattoos and piercings. I went into debt getting my gender studies degree, the mailer read, Florida Politics reported. Thanks to Charlie Crist, taxpayers are bailing me. Okay, it's literally okay. Look, I do have an issue with this when articles literally say the same thing that the pictures say. Like, great, cool, yes, this is what the picture said. Thank you. Yada yada yada. Biden slammed DeSantis at a campaign rally for Crist earlier this week, calling out the Florida governor for demonizing the LGBTQ population. Biden also suggested that DeSantis is just another bigoted version of former President Donald Trump, and if he wins a second term, will likely leave to run for president in 2024. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The first thing I'm going to say is whether you're watching this also in Florida or any other state, get out and vote. Definitely do your part. You want to vote, make your voice heard. The second thing I'm going to say is that For those that don't understand why this rhetoric is so dangerous, what DeSantis is doing, and quite frankly, what the Republican Party in general is doing and has been for the past several years now, at least, is dehumanizing the LGBTQ community. And I'm not sure how to convey the danger that that brings to a community, a group of people. When a group of people is dehumanized, often acts of violence are caused and dismissed when they are taken against them because they're not really seen as human. They're not seen as deserving of empathy, sympathy, any kind of care, really. Let's go through some of the comments here. I saw a different stupid one, an anti-Christ one that says Charlie Crist will pay my student. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, same one we just whatever. Dude is like the trifecta of all the GOP's most used talking points. Doesn't even make a coherent sentence. Yeah, yeah. Here's the difference between the GOP and Democrats when it comes to mailers. A friend of mine was working on a campaign in Miami in 2016, an NPA race in Dade. The Democratic Party threatened to withdraw support for a candidate when he wanted to put out a flyer that said, Richard Dunn knows a lot about drowning. Don't let Richard Dunn drown Miami in debt too. And it had the image of the swimming pool that his grandson drowned in. Christ. The Democratic Party said if you release that flyer, we will withdraw all support. They also said they would boot him from the County Democratic Party committee. This is a difference. The Dems find that vile, the GOP would endorse it. Oh, Jesus. I stand corrected. The GOP actually did use that tactic. A Virginia race in 2016, a woman running in Virginia, her daughter was beaten up and sexually harassed. The GOP ran a flyer with the police pictures from the hospital with her injuries, and it said, how can, the candidate's name, I forgot, I'll have to, protect Virginia when she can't even protect her own daughter. There was a joke back when Hillary Clinton was running, which was similar to this, when she was running for president, that I thought was actually kind of funny. And they essentially said, how do people expect Hillary Clinton to satisfy an entire nation when she can't even satisfy her own husband? Because, you know, Bill Clinton cheated on her with, what was her name? Monica Lewinsky. That was her name. I had to make sure. There's like, I was thinking like Belushi, but that's an actress. And anyway, that's not it. It's Lewinsky. But let's take a look at this other article here, because I did mention about voting. Some eligible voters are scared to cast ballots after Ron DeSantis voting arrests. Some eligible ex-felons. Before we get into this, I want to my dad served as a deputy at a sheriff's office here in Florida for years and years. I've talked to him about the concept of rehabilitation in the prison system, and he agreed that, well, he said it's not about rehabilitation, it's about punishment. I know that, but I was explaining why that's bad, and why we should go for rehabilitation instead. And he didn't really engage with it. He just kind of kept saying, but that's not what it's about. And I get that. But I'm more or less arguing what it should be, not what it is. And I think that's a really important difference between progressives and conservatives in general. We argue for and try to go for how the world should be. Conservatives try to fight for how it is, or even worse, bringing it back to a less progressive time. But I could go on and on about that, and I'm sure someday I will. Some eligible ex-felons fear voting because of Ron DeSantis. When Florida Governor Ron DeSantis called a press conference in August to announce illegal voting charges against 20 Floridians with prior felony oh, by the way, real quick, in case it wasn't clear, I fully support that felons should be allowed to vote. I mean, I can't remember who made this joke, but like, seriously, do you think they're going to like vote to make crime legal or something? Like, what is the issue with a felon voting? What does it matter? All of whom seem to have intentionally broken the law, but rather seem to have unintentionally, seem not to have intentionally broken the law, but rather fallen victim to a confusing voter registration system. A chill went over the state. As a result, some would-be voters who are actually qualified to register, thanks to a constitutional amendment to restore former felons' voting rights, that Florida voters approved 4 years ago, true, we did, are nevertheless passing on the opportunity because they're worried they'll go back to prison. Wait, what? Approved are nevertheless passing on the opportunity. Okay. We've already encountered other individuals who have said, look, I'm afraid to vote, said Mike Gottlieb, a Democratic state legislator who's on the legal defense team for one of the men facing charges. I have not encountered in the past this many voters calling concern that they may be prosecuted or what have you for voter fraud. Mark Early, Leon County Supervisor of Elections, told News Service of Florida this week, and these are all eligible voters that have contacted me. Gottlieb said he believed that DeSantis' press conference held in a courtroom in Florida's bluest county, Broward, was specifically designed to disenfranchise Democratic voters in Broward County, an accusation that a Florida Department of State spokesperson called blatantly false. I wonder what county that is. Do we need this? No. What city is that? Oh, Fort Lauderdale? Wait, no. Yeah. All of these cities are in Broward County. I almost actually moved to Fort Lauderdale at one point. I didn't, but I almost did. Fair enough. Nonetheless, news of the arrest quickly reverberated across the state. It's had a major chilling effect, Gottlieb said. I think they've accomplished their goal they're trying to be people who are not interested in voting because they are concerned that they're going to be arrested. Neil Foles said he has seen a major response to the arrests. Foles is deputy director at the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, a group dedicated to helping returning citizens, that is, formerly incarcerated people, who have prior convictions. We're seeing individuals who, because of the confusion, might not participate this year, said Voles, who is himself a returning citizen. It's gut-wrenching to think that the de facto decision somebody needs to make when they're confused about whether they're eligible or not is to not vote. Yeah. I mean, think about that. You go into the voting booth, maybe you do a mail-in ballot, however you want to handle it, and for exercising your democratic right as a citizen, you're arrested. But obviously, we know why these things are put in place. DeSantis has been for a long time working to make it that, to put it bluntly and briefly, the people that will not vote for him, he doesn't want voting at all. And the people that will vote for him are the only ones he wants voting. So he's doing everything in his power to make that happen. Him and his campaign. There's your defense. After Florida's Amendment 4 passed in 2018, former felons who've completed any sentence, parole, or prohibition for their convictions were automatically granted their voting rights back, with the exception of people convicted of murder or felony sexual offenses. Do people really think they're going to vote to make murder or sexual offenses legal? I don't get it. If the reason they're not allowed to vote is like they're not allowed in a voting booth around other people, okay, fine. Then give them like a mail-in ballot or something. I don't know. But within months, the Republican-controlled Florida legislature additionally required felons to pay back all fines and fees related to their sentence before they could regain their rights, forcing returning citizens to navigate a county by county patchwork of court records that can feel impossible to untangle. Okay, if anyone doesn't see what this is to make it impossible. The point in putting this massive paywall and all of these hoops you have to jump through to get you to your goal is to make it so you're so discouraged you don't even bother trying. That's the point. Anyone that thinks, oh, how are they going to afford that? Exactly. Oh, that doesn't make sense. No one could do. Yeah, exactly. That's the point. In Alachua County earlier this week, oh, Gainesville. Okay, I'm relatively familiar with Gainesville. Sorry, I have to figure out what each of the, because I'll be real with you, I don't know counties. Outside of my own, I don't know counties. Well, mine and like a few in my vicinity. Anyway, in Alachua County earlier this year, months before DeSantis' press conference, 10 Floridians were charged for voting illegally, although most of them had been registered to vote by county officials during a jailhouse registration drive. All of them owed fines and fees from previous charges, Fresh Take Florida reported. The evidence against one defendant included $494 in unpaid fines that dated as far back as 1994. This man's a fucking monster. There's no evidence that any of the people who DeSantis mentioned in his August press conference actually meant to break the law, but all of the defendants DeSantis announced had been convicted of murder or felony sex offenses, making them ineligible for automatic voter registration. Yet no one stopped them from registering. That is... That's how you know it's not about actually preventing the crime. It's about having a reason to arrest people. I mean, shit. It's why cops have quotas and stuff, too, with tickets they need to write, people they need to arrest, all that shit, too. Fuck. Rather, the defendants say they were told by various parties, election officials, canvassers, and a prohibition officer, and even a sheriff's deputy, that they were eligible to vote. According to court records reported by the Orlando Sentinel, they were issued voter registration cards by the state, and they used them. Months later, police officers arrived at their doors. Think about that. Fuck. You go through all the legal procedures. You're given. This is like if you have a license and you drive and you've been driving for months or maybe even years. You've been driving, and then all of a sudden you get a knock on your door. It's the police, and they say, "We're arresting you." What for? Your license isn't valid. What do you mean it's not valid? I was given it by the state. Yeah, well, it wasn't valid. They shouldn't have given it to you in the first place. How's that my fucking problem? It's not. You want to confiscate it? Okay. But to fucking arrest people for that? And don't get me wrong, confiscating and all that, removing these people's licenses or right to... I mean, we have a right to vote in this fucking country. Oh my god. Body camera footage published by the Tampa Bay Times, we'll see if we can view this, last week showed the moments the Floridians realized that they'd essentially been misled into thinking they were eligible to vote. All right. See this?
So apparently, really? I guess you have a warrant?
Hang on.
So apparently, I guess you have a warrant?
For what?
I'm not sure.
For voter stuff, man.
For voters.
Can I... Really? There's no... Thank you. What the hell? Okay, what the fuck was that? Alright. Start that over.
So, apparently, I guess you have a warrant?
For what?
I'm not sure.
For voter stuff, man.
For voters.
It's what it is. I think the agents with FDLE talked to you last week about some voter fraud, voter stuff, when you weren't supposed to be voting, maybe.
I didn't.
So...
What are they talking about?
That's
man?
what we're not the case agents, but what you got to do,
You're not supposed to be voting. The fuck?
They have reduced your bond quite a bit. It's 2 felony charges for voter fraud, but they've reduced it to $500 bonds. So it's $1,000 total.
Oh my god, man! What?
Yes, sir. So unfortunately, right now we're gonna have to take you to jail. But you got a bond right away. You don't have to go to first appearance, nothing like that. So
A bond? I didn't do it.
Okay. So, ma'am,
Nice.
we have a warrant for your arrest.
By the way, notice the community, the housing area, and the type of people that the cops are talking to here. See if you pick up on any consistent patterns.
For voter fraud.
Good. How are you, sir?
Oh my God. Hold on. Wait. Let me tell my husband.
We're telling him. He's right here.
Right here. So if you can put your hands behind your back, please.
Oh my God.
Do
So,
not move.
ultimately, ma'am, you have a warrant. Okay. The warrant. Listen, hold on. Listen. I know you caught off guard. I understand. Right. So you have a warrant. It's for voter fraud. Okay. Hear me out. It's an ROR. You know what an ROR is?
Oh my God.
You go in, you get booked, and then they're going to release you from booking.
You can go right out.
You're going to be right back out. Okay.
Right back
But you have a warrant.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm like, voter fraud. I voted, but I ain't commit no fraud.
Well, so that's the thing. I don't know exactly what happened with it, but you do have a warrant. That's what it's for. Okay?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened with that, but
I got out. The guy told me that.
Full disclosure, I haven't actually watched this yet. So if you see me getting pretty angry and stuff while watching this, the fucking outrage, yeah, that's why.
We're here to go vote for whatever comes out. I've done my time.
Yep.
I was here.
but the warrant was just made yesterday. So
I like how we have to protect the cop's identity, by the way, but we don't have to protect the citizens that are being arrested identity. That's real nice. We got this big giant here, this giant fucking black box here. This is so the cop's face can't be seen.
The guys talked to me 2 weeks ago.
yeah, I know. I don't know, ma'am. I honestly couldn't tell you. Okay. So
I do believe that, by the way. He doesn't know. These cops are just given orders to arrest. They're given the warrant. They're given a briefing, but they're not really told what's going on. Not that it necessarily matters, but shit.
I got to do some paperwork, and
Because, they're just doing their jobs. Christ on a bike.
the quicker I can get the paperwork done, the quicker I can get you there. Okay.
Hey, unfortunately, you got a warrant out, okay?
Warrant? What
Yes, sir. Want to put your hands behind your
Why
back?
are they censoring his shirt? Isn't it a fucking Bible verse? John 3:16? What else would it... Hold up. I'm sorry. What else would it be? Black shirt with 3:16 on. Like, what else could it... It's got to be John... Austin 3... Mom 3:16? Austin Dad? Oh. Why? The hell? I guess. What is that? Oh, maybe it had someone's name. So it's basically like him. Maybe it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Maybe it's him like repping, honoring his, like someone he lost. Or something. I don't know. It's just weird that they would censor that, but whatever. Because, they won't cover his face.
Oh, no.
And to their credit, this guy's white. But, notice the area he's in.
No one ever really explained.
What the fuck is with that handcuff situation? Why? Why do we have handcuffs connected to whatever?
You know that much. Teammate told the guys when they came out here that I was at the driver's license place getting my new driver's license. Yeah. The guy there asked me, he says, "Hey, can you?" He says, "Hey, are you registered to vote?" I said, "No, I'm a convicted felon. I'm pretty sure I can." He goes, "Well, are you still on probation?" I said, "No, I got off probation like a month ago." He goes, "Well, then you can probably vote. Hey, just fill out the form, and if
Is this Hillsborough?
you can vote, then they'll give you a card. If you can't vote, then you won't." And I'm like, all right.
Yes, it is. This is Hillsborough County. Familiar with that area too.
Right.
And there's your defense. You know what I'm saying?
That
Sounds like a loophole to me.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. He caught it.
You know what I'm
All right.
saying? And there's your defense. You know what I'm saying? Sounds like
vote, then they'll give you
You can vote. They'll give you a card, and if you can't vote, then you hold up.
fill out the form. And
Alright, let's listen to this again.
He goes, well,
Sorry, I
then you
was
can
so
probably
focused on other shit going on.
vote. Hey, just fill out the form, and if you can vote, well, then you can probably. I said, "No, sure I can." He goes, "I got off probation like a month ago." He goes, "Well, then you can probably vote. Hey, just fill out the form, and if you can vote, then they'll let you give you a card. If you can't vote, then you won't. And I'm like, all right.
And there's your defense. You know what I'm saying? That sounds like a loophole to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's a loophole.
Well, we can hope.
Not apply to anyone convicted of. Yeah, right.
Can you give this back to me?
Yes, sir. Will do.
It's because of the sex offender thing that you can't vote. So, I mean, the warrant is for the voting deal, I guess, but...
The law and changes to it caused confusion about who was eligible, and the state's voter registration forms offer no... forms, as in the papers they filled out, offer no clarity. All those arrested on August 18th were given voter registration cards. They were set up.
I guess it's kind of all tied together.
That was the whole point.
Yeah, I guess they're doing like some kind of roundup thing or something for all the ones that were within the county.
Yeah, I had to do one of these this morning already.
Oh, really?
Do you know the statutes for them?
It doesn't say it on the...
Let's walk over to my car,
Why is
okay?
y'all doing this now and this happened years ago?
I don't know. I have no idea, man.
And just to be clear, by the way, for anybody that's going to look at this and be like, oh, you're supporting murderers and sexual criminals, like they shouldn't be able to vote. They're still fucking human beings. They're still citizens of the country. Yes, they should absolutely have a right to vote. So I'm not even going to get on that.
This shit crazy, man. Y'all put me in jail for something I didn't know nothing about. Why would y'all let me vote if I wasn't able to vote?
Jesus. Oh, God. And then they're just going to go over the video we just covered. Yeah. Bull said the atmosphere in Florida today reminds him of the days he spent campaigning for the passage of Amendment 4, a statewide vote of Floridians who still had their rights to extend the franchise to those who the state had excluded from society. Voles, by the way, that is what it's all about. Excluding, on one hand, excluding LGBTQ people from society. They don't want them to exist. They want them dead. They want... And the people, minorities, people of, not high income, we'll say, those that are going to, use their right to vote and try to make things better for their community and stuff, they don't want them. Okay. This is good news. Charges dismissed for Florida man arrested in Ron DeSantis voter fraud crackdown. Voter fraud charges confessed Floridians and arresting officers and body cam. Confused. The right can't stop talking about the conspiracy theory movie. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Here, let's see. Oh my God, this fucking... Can we not? I hate, like, I'm pressing control and clicking and it's supposed to open in a new tab. All right, fine, be that way. Thank you. 2000, oh my God, I heard about this. I can't, like, sit and break down the whole thing because I'm going to get major copyright hits. Probably copyright strikes at that point. Shit. All right. I don't know, maybe I'll look at this and some shit. I don't fucking know. This man's a fucking monster. DeSantis and everything he stands for, I hate him. I just want him out. I really do. I just want him out. He's... Fuck. He's awful. But so many people here love him. Not everybody. Not even everybody in my neck of the woods. But I do want to see if I can end this on a positive note, though. Charges dismissed for Florida man arrested in Ron DeSantis' voter fraud crackdown. The ruling may influence the 19 other election fraud cases brought by the state's new, that's connected to what we just watched here. One of the 20... Yeah. One of the 20 Florida residents accused of voting illegally in the 2020 election by Governor Ron DeSantis when he announced their arrests in August had his charges dismissed Friday. Good. When was this article written? Oh, shit. October 21st. So this would have been, they said Friday. So that would have been, I would imagine, the 14th. Robert Lee Wood, 56, was charged with one count of making a false affirmation on a voter application and one count of voting as an unqualified elector. He faced up to 5 years in prison and $5,000 in fines and fees, but his charges were dismissed by a Miami judge ruling that the statewide prosecutor lacked jurisdiction. Okay. It's probably just going to go through the same thing here. You're more than welcome to, and I encourage reading any of these articles yourself, by the way. The state prosecutor overseeing all 20 election fraud cases indicted indicted Wood, saying he registered and voted knowing he was ineligible due to his previous felony record. Wood was convicted of second-degree murder in 1991, but Wood claimed he did not know he was ineligible and registered in 2020 after he was approached by a canvasser and was sent a voter registration card by the state. The ruling in Wood's case may influence the 19 other election fraud cases brought by the state's new Office of Election. The ruling in Wood's case may influence the 19 other election fraud cases brought by the state's new Office of Election Crimes and Security. Several of those charged had prior felony convictions. Local and national publications reported that, similar to Wood, those charged didn't know they were ineligible to vote and were not informed of it until after they voted. By the way, my opinion on this, if somebody is given these licenses to vote, and they were ineligible at the end of the day, that sounds like it's a problem for the office that administered the licenses or what have you, not the voter. The arrests of 20 Floridians days before... Oh, Jesus Christ, this is long. Oh, no, it's not okay. The arrests of the 20 Floridians days before primary elections drew increased scrutiny after police body... Yeah, okay, so this is what we read through. 2018, yada, yada, yada. Okay, cool. DeSantis claimed in August that more prosecutions would come with investigators... Yeah, okay. He's a monster. That's it. That's all I can fucking say. I don't... Jesus. It's not looking good. I'm really hoping that we make it out of this okay. But This is good. So ashamed. I'm a conservative, but you can be damn sure I'm not voting for DeSantis. Yeah. Guys, I will be as clear about this as I can. I have friends and family that are conservative. While I do not like the Conservative Party, I think that them and the actual people in power in the party, the demagogues, the people running, people like DeSantis, Trump, all that, Greg Abbott in Texas, while I do view them as evil monsters, there are people who are legitimately good people that just vote conservative, or they are conservative, culturally, socially, whatever it may be. And I legitimately do believe that, for the most part, people can be moved over on their positions if you can just have a conversation and meet them where they're at. Not everybody. And if you're in danger in any way for trying to have a conversation, don't have the conversation. But if you can and you're registered, vote. Just please, even if you think that it is pointless, you'd be surprised. Because if enough people who want to vote against DeSantis can do so and get him out, we can get him out. And I don't think, Chris is like an amazing person or anything like that. Just like Biden's not an amazing person. But it's a hell of a lot better than the alternative. And we can't truly go for and reach progress while we're constantly fighting against so much regressivism. So much, yeah. We really are in many ways just it feels like there's nothing you can do, but there absolutely is. They want you to think, Republicans want you to think there's nothing you can do, but there is. If they really thought there wasn't anything you could do, they wouldn't be doing this voter suppression. There is something you can do. Vote. Make your voice count. Make it known. Let's get this monster out of here. As always, these are my thoughts. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Follow me on social media for more. Subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date. Leave a like if you like. If not, I hope you find something you do like. Take care of each other out there, guys. And that's all for me. Peace and love.